What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. We got a 3-game slate to dive into for Wednesday, May 21st. So we'll break down and analyze each of those games. We'll talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points on the spread, and we'll also go over any player props that I found in those games that I like. And then any picks that I put in officially myself, we'll find a link down there in the pinned comment that's going to send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website, and that's where all of my final plays will live for free. But before we dive into this action, let's go ahead and take a look back at last night, what we took and how that ended up going down. And we finished 2 and 3 on the night, but we did just run everything at quarter unit plays, so don't get killed on the night. I think we're down 0.34 units overall, right? So nothing to cry about. Obviously look to get better, but it's not going to kill us long term. That's why we're playing things pretty conservative here to start out the season. But I double dipped on the Fever, man, and that definitely was not the move, right? Got a little too overconfident in Indiana. I put them in a parlay that took the Fever with an alternate spread of -2.5 and paired that with a total alternate of under 179.5, and that obviously does not cash. We also took the Fever at -8.5 because we found that at plus money over there at No Vig. Obviously does not cash. And we took the Aces -11.5. That one does hit. Took Chelsea Gray over 10.5 points. That one hits as well. But we also took Chelsea Gray over 1.5 3-pointers, and she does not cash that one out. So 2 and 3 on the night, like I said. Definitely look to get better, look to improve, and let's start doing that right here, right now. Guys, please smash that like button down there for me if you can. Hit subscribe if you have not already. Now let's go ahead and jump into the mix. We got the Wings taking on the Lynx in our first game. It's an 8 p.m. tip-off. Now the Lynx opened up as 9.5-point favorites. That has since jumped up to 11.5. That total is sitting at 168.5. These two met on opening night and will match up again here in Minnesota for the Lynx home opener. This is the first of 3 straight at home for Minnesota, and they also bring a 1-day rest advantage into this one. The Wings are on the road for the first of 4 straight after dropping their first 2 on the season at home. Dallas, though, at the least has been competitive to start the year, right? They're playing opposing teams pretty close for about 3 of the 4 quarters of play. They just, as teams in rebuild mode often do, they've given up big runs in each of those games. They were outscored by 15 by the Lynx in the third quarter of their game, and then followed that up by being beaten by the Storm 31-15 in the second quarter of their meeting. And in the other 6 quarters of play so far, the Wings have actually outscored their opponents 120-112. So, like I said, they've got some talent over there. They're playing competitive. They just got to figure out a way to get this thing to gel and to mesh and to get it to work. And speaking of that, we got to talk about that combo of Paige and Enrique because we know that obviously at some point it's going to flourish, right? That combo has to take off at some point. There's just so much talent between the two of them for this not to work. But Agumba Wale, man, has really, really struggled to start off this year, which is surprising to me given the talent that Dallas brought in. I talked about that in that opening night video. She's getting so much more space to operate. Her shot just isn't falling, man. She's 6 of 26 shooting from the field so far through these first 2 games to open up the season. But here's the thing, guys. Don't go writing off Enrique. Don't go throwing her on some kind of do not bet list this early in the season. She's a whole bucket, man. And sometimes shooters just simply hit a slump. Now, Minnesota, on the other hand, they've had similar tales throughout both of their games to start the year. They're tighter, closer games, right, heading into halftime, and then they utilize a third quarter push to pull away, ultimately finish with a double-digit victory. That's what they've done so far. Now they're back at home in front of their fans for the first time this season. They have a 2-0 record to start the year. Their revenge tour year. I expect them to roll here, man. Minnesota has been without Kayla McBride, and I'm still not finding anything on her return to the team. But despite being down one of their best players, this team is loaded with talent and has played extremely efficient basketball. Man, I saw a stat regarding that efficiency across their top 3 5-player rotations, and let's look at those real quick, man. With Courtney Williams, Carly Samuelson, Fee, Jessica Shepard, and Bridget Carlton all sharing the floor, Minnesota carries a plus 38 net rating, just under 130 for offensive rating and just above 90 for defensive rating. With Williams, Samuelson, Fee, Carlton, and Alana Smith on the floor, it gets even better. Plus 79 net rating, 158 offensively, 79 defensively. And then with Williams, Collier, Shepard, Carlton, and Diamond Miller, we see them at a plus 38 net rating, 130 offensively, 92nd defensively. So just simply put, pure dominance, man. Those are the top 3 rotations that they roll out there. So with or without McBride, I like them here again over the Wings. It's a big line, sure, but we've seen Minnesota cover twice on the road already. Like we mentioned earlier, winning each game by double digits. I liked it a lot more at 9.5, so I'm not sure I quite get there with that 11.5. But look, if I had to pick a side, it's the Lynx or nothing, right? You got to go with the Lynx here. So I like them to get it done here for a third straight game and start this season out 3-0. Now for the total, I like the under, and I like it a lot. I'm already all over that one, man. Both teams smashed overs in their first game before hitting unders the last time out. And I spoke on the Lynx in their last game. We covered about how I thought their defense would just improve, right, game to game, and look like the elite defense that we saw last year. But also we knew that getting Alana Smith back was going to be vital for this defense. And then when Caleb McBride returns too, that's just another piece there that's missing. So we saw them hold the Sparks to 75 points the last time out, just 30 total in the second half. Man, this is still the best defense in the league, if you ask me. And I think hitting the under while we're getting totals this high still with Minnesota has some nice value, right? 168.5. Let me get that, man. If you followed the W last year, you probably remember the Lynx totals living in the 150s regularly, the low 160s at most, right? I think after the books adjust, we can start to expect more of the same here in 2025. But until then, man, I'm going to keep smashing that under, right? 168.5. The Lynx, that defense? Nah, give me the under all day. Then a player prop I'd be looking at would be Maddie Seagrass of the Wings. Her points over 9.5. We can get that at BetMGM right now, minus 115. Now, one of you put this down there in the comments in opening night, and that was a great call. She's looking like, a six player of the year candidate for sure. And we can see so far this season she has hit both of these, or hit over that number in both games. And we can also see head to head that she has hit 3 of the last 4 times going up against this Minnesota team. So we like that, man. Let's go ahead and flip it back over to 2025, though. These first 2 games so far, we can see that she's definitely getting the minutes, right? And she's also getting the volume as far as shot attempts, hitting or attempting 10 shots in each of these games so far to open up the season. So I like this one. And then next up, we have the Washington Mystics taking on the Golden State Valkyries. We have a 10 p.m. tip-off. Mystics open up as 5.5-point favorites on the road. The total sitting at 161.5. Like I said, Washington on the road here for the second straight of a 4-game road trip. And they started the season 0-12 last season, right? They've opened up 2-0 with 2 come from behind victories in 2025. Slim Sykes has been hooping, man, and rookies Kiki Irafine and Sonia Citron are the truth, man. They are so much fun to watch. And I haven't even seen my pick for most improved player of the year so far come out, right? Aaliyah Edwards is still hurt. So, man, once she returns, watch out. This Washington team, they can make a little bit of noise this year. The Valkyries are home again with a sizable rest advantage. They haven't played since opening night. 4 days of rest in between to just 2 for Washington. Golden State showed flashes early in the opener against the Sparks, leading by 1 after the first quarter and only trailing by 6 entering the fourth quarter, but then they fell short in the final period, being outscored 18-7. Reigning sixth player of the year, Tiffany Hayes, kind of looks to be their go-to scorer. She put up the most shot attempts in that opening game, and she finished the night leading the Valkyries in scoring with 19 points. Sammy Fogg Bentley, who looked nice in her limited action last year with the Fever, also chipped in with 15 points. And then we saw Julie Van Loo catch fire from 3 early in the game, right? She finished with 4 makes from beyond the arc and 14 points of her own. What killed Golden State is turnovers, as they had 20 turnovers to just 13 assists, while only forcing 10 turnovers from the Sparks as opposed to 19 LA assists. Through 2 games, the Mystics have an offensive rating of 115. That's just 1 point below a league high 116 from Minnesota. But defensively, they sit at just 9th with a rating at just under 109. So here's the thing, man. After 2 gritty come from behind victories, and playing at a rest disadvantage against a Valkyries team searching for their first franchise win at home, I could definitely see this being a letdown spot for the Mystics. Look, man, as fun as they've been to watch, and as much as I want to keep backing them, because we've cashed with them now 2 out of 2 games so far, I think this is a spot that I'm going to have to lean towards the Valkyries catching that 5.5 points at home. As far as the total goes, both of these teams want to play with pace, and Washington has put up at least 90 in each of their first 2 games while allowing 90 and 85. Golden State played at the second fastest pace in their opener, just behind the Fever. So if we could see them cut down on the turnover some, man, I like our chances of getting up over this number. So I'll lean over for this one here. And guys, I'm still not. It's 10:09 at the time of recording this right now, man. I'm still not seeing any player props for this game or the next game, the Sparks and the Mercury. So just gonna have to run with the analysis for each of these games as far as the side and the total, right? And then I'll look over the player props if they come out tonight, and if not, I'll look at them in the morning. And since we weren't able to go over them, if I do end up playing any player props and I put those picks up on the Guy Boston Sports website, I'll give a little explanation of why I am digging that pick, man, and why I'm leaning that direction. Then our last game on the evening is going to be that Sparks and Mercury game, tipping off at 10 p.m. Mercury are minus 2.5 point favorites. That total is sitting at 162.5, opened up at 160.5 and has since moved up. The Mercury are going to be at home for the second straight game and also bring a 1 day rest advantage into this one over the Sparks, who come in off of a loss to the Lynx on Sunday. Phoenix was dominant in their opener, man, despite being down Kalia Copper. They put the clamps on Seattle, giving up only 59 points and holding them to just 33% shooting, 18% from beyond the arc. And the additions of AT and Sabali were felt early and steadily throughout this contest. Sabali set a franchise record for points scored in a Mercury debut with 27. And then Alyssa Thomas added in 20 of her own to go with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. After 7 years overseas, we also saw 29-year-old Katie Westbeld make her WNBA debut. The 6'3" forward impressed, man, with 9 points on 60% shooting and 5 rebounds in just 22 minutes of action. Phoenix shot 52% overall from the field in the opener. They won the battle on the glass 38-29. And I worried about the Mercury's death, but we saw a 9-player rotation, and Coach Tibbetts spread those minutes out pretty evenly between them. We saw 7 players see the court for at least 20 minutes, and then the other 2 finished at 17 and 18 minutes. So a very fresh group of players were on the court pretty much at all times, and it showed in the blowout. The Sparks come into this one 1-1, and so far through their first 2 games, they definitely look like a much improved team from last season. That addition of Kelsey Plum is it's raining huge so far. So they kept things close with Minnesota throughout the first half. They trailed by only 1 at halftime. But now that sneaky depth that I've mentioned a few times while covering the Sparks, well, it's taking a hit, man. Julie Alleman and Rakia Jackson, they both look like they're going to be game time decisions. And we saw Ray Burrell carried off the court in the opener with a leg injury. I think she's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, I saw. So, although it's a small sample size, they are positive in terms of net rating. It's an area that they finished second to last at negative 8.6 last season. They're shooting 35% from three as well. That's good for fourth in the W currently. Now, even with that said, though, I would already be looking at Phoenix or nothing in this one, but with the injuries to the LA side, it's definitely a Mercury play for me, and I actually got them on the money line with a little bit of juice at minus 145. Nothing too hateful, right? That 2.5, though, it's small enough number, man, that if you're looking for better odds, I don't think that's a bad look at all. I definitely think this is a Phoenix spot. But personally, I stay away from worrying about points when the money line has odds that I deem favorable. So I'm definitely rolling with the money line on this one. I got that play in minus 145 over there at Caesars. And then for the total, I'd probably lean over, but honestly, this is a pretty sharp line, man. Like I said, it jumped out at 160.5. And has since moved up to 162.5. So obviously the market's liking the over as well. I'm not sure that I can get there myself, but I definitely would be leaning that way. I see these teams landing in like the high 70s to the low 80s, which would put us right around that number, right? But both of these teams, they want to get out in transition, and they do their best work really in that regard, but both shoot from the perimeter well as well. So I'd lean over, like I said, but I'm not sure that I can get there. And then, yeah, man, no player props still for this game. So, like I said, just make sure you check that pin comment. If I find anything I like for this one, I will add some stuff in over there at the Guy Boston Sports website. But that's going to wrap it up, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope you found the content helpful and useful. And if you did, please do not forget to smash that like button down there. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that we are dropping here on the daily. I hope you guys all cash out. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another one.